the last year, 1 million AI agencies, consulting firms, coaching websites, school.com, all of these things have popped up online. The old consulting model is dead. This is not to say that you shouldn't get into consulting or AI agency or anything like that. It's rather to say that the traditional models that a lot of these bigger firms, KPMG, Deloitte, the big four that everyone talks about, is shifting. It's no longer the same. What do I mean by that? The old model looked a little something like this. First, you had the strategy. McKinsey or one of these companies would get hired by you, big company, enterprise, insert here, to go do research, do reports, look at market research, look at other companies, look at what other people have done, bring in experts, and then give you an 87-page report for $400,000 on exactly what you need to do and how to do it. And this still is happening every single day. From there, you move into the implementation. Now, if you have the funds to be able to implement what that consulting report gave to you, you have the teams, the technical experience, if it's software, if it's governance, the policy experience, so on and so forth, you implement it. If you don't, you go to the next consulting firm, which is a firm that handles implementation or software consultancy or governance consultancy or learning consultancy, something like Accenture, and you have them go in and dive in and build it for you. Then, once you're done with that, hopefully you're starting to get adoption if it was a tool you made. You're getting people to sign up for these classes and these courses, so on and so forth. AI breaks everything, not because it's overhyped or underhyped, and I believe there's both of those happening right now, but rather because of how it works, what type of technology and solutions we're seeing come out of it. Some solutions are game-changing. We're seeing thousands of % of ROI. Other ones are absolutely negative. We're seeing energy costs, we're seeing stealing of ideas, we're seeing all these concepts that are creating massive barriers to implementation. On top of that, if we want to keep things human, or at the very least keep domain expertise, it requires new ways of thinking of integrating these tools. We don't even know how to grade students anymore. The academic world is about to explode. On top of that, traditional software is getting pushed to the side despite its extremely useful process. Most of the companies that I work with, a lot of the times are jumping on AI to solve a problem that a simple SQL call or a Python script could solve, rather than doing all this extra stuff with AI. That's being said, they're also ignoring all the possible solutions that AI could have when you pair it with traditional software solutions. Even a simple AI tool for $0 to $20 a month is able to get you a massive amount of use. Finally, if you learn how to orchestrate that all, it's a crazy thing. Yet these consultancies, these agencies are coming in and they're selling you 100% AI when they should be selling you 60% traditional software, 20% rule-based logic, concept, business ideas, and then 10%, 20% AI implementation. Again, this is not to say that AI is not absolutely game-changing. I'm one of the biggest proponents of it. It's to say that we're understanding it wrong. Right now, when I go work with a company, I do a lot of courses. I do a lot of instructional work, upskilling people, getting them used to and understanding various tools, whether it's Gemini, Copilot, Google, Claude, all of these different things. I teach people in huge enterprise, Fortune 500 companies, how to use these tools. And one thing that I keep noticing is Karen from HR or Jimmy Johns from the sandwich department is able to actually build a tool that would have taken 2 years and $20 million and a huge consulting budget in his afternoon with a couple of prompts. It's not a perfect solution, right? It's not necessarily scalable. There's a lot of questions to be asked about it. But in an afternoon, the subject matter expert of his job, his problems, is able to use natural language to create a software solution that relatively solves his problems. When 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that would have cost millions of dollars and months to actually implement. And this is the thing that people aren't understanding. When you look at it like this aspect, the consulting firms become a lot less valuable if you can turn inward and talk to your employees and have them build basic tools and then invest into it. So what does this look like now? What is the new model? Well, for me, this is exactly what I'm implementing. And this is what I think every consulting firm, every agency needs to be doing, because it's human, it's software focused, as well as it's focusing on the new dynamics of what we're about. And it's focusing on the new dynamics that we're allowed to have with emergent technologies like this. And this same process had to happen with the internet. It had to happen with the computer chip. It just happened in a different way. I have plenty of articles on the history of technology and the history of AI, going back even 2,000 years, if you'd like to read them, link in comments. But at the end of the day, the first thing you should be doing is like you're building a startup, except you're consulting a large company that's already ready to go. You discover by doing, by building and seeing what goes wrong, by asking questions. Where are the pain points? What are the problems? You look at the domain experts, you give them a $0 to $20 a month tool like ChatGPT, and you have them try to make ChatGPT solve that problem. It's not going to be perfect. There's going to be issues. It's going to be a 60 to 20% there, but that's the important part. That's the next step. Over a few weeks, maybe months, you collect all that data, all that information. You understand it. Then AI experts come in and say, this is how you could integrate it. This is the tool you could use to make this scalable. The employees, the people who are going to be using the tool, tell you their problems directly. We cut out the middleman, and they're able to say, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I was able to create. Where can I make this better? And then finally, and that last step, that's where you do the package. That's where you're saying what you invest your money in. And personally, I think it's possible to build that now. My firm, we don't just do upscaling. We don't just do data and collection. We do software building because we can now. Because of these AI tools and implemented properly, a 10-person team, 20-person team can outcompete a 40 or 50-person team. We can be more agile. We can build software at scale for multiple clients, but it requires the governance, the processes, the small steps, the understanding that the traditional methods are still valuable, but need to be implemented and orchestrated in new ways. And this is important for everyone to understand. If you're running an agency right now, if you're about to make one, if you do not adapt to a model similar to this, you are going to fail. You will not provide enough value to customers. This isn't about AI being super hyped. This isn't about whether or not you believe in AI or anything. This is about what's actually happening on the ground and what I am seeing money being wasted on with a huge bubble forming and what I'm seeing it not being wasted on. And the bubble will burst. AI will crash. But from that crash, value will be pulled from. Just like the dot-com crash, just like every other crash before it, the company's doing the right way in providing value for its customers, for its clients, will win. And this is what I am saying. If you do not adapt, if you stick with this waterfall strategy, if you sit there and understand that this is what you're building, you're either going to get acquired or you're going to die. And those are your only two options if you're going to stick in one way, because every other firm out there is adopting and trying to enter the new value add area. If you're going to create value for your clients, for your customers, imagine everyone can do what traditional consulting firms were doing for free. Now make that a feature rather than your product and decide what the next layer above that is. What are you offering as value? There's a lot of solutions for this. I'm seeing more human-based solutions, which is funny. The human experience, the walkthrough, the bespokeness. If you're in education, the ability to make tests for every single individual student. If you're in insurance, being able to make bespoke walkthroughs for every single client that's trying to get an insurance policy. The list goes on. It comes back to the individual. The value add becomes individuation. And it only starts when you start understanding you can't just do one thing anymore. In the past, when you were consulting on accounting, all you had to do was handle paperwork and make sure it was applied well. Now you need to study Excel sheets, tax law, you need to handle bank transactions. You're handling so much more because the technology made it so easy for one person to do one of those things. They would have rather just do them themselves rather than pay you for it. We're seeing the same thing now. You need to provide value beyond what the individual, what the client can do themselves or would likely like to do themselves because it would take so much time. Or you need to increase the quality of what you're doing at such a high scale that it just makes sense to go with you. And again, this isn't about AI adoption. It is about understanding the capability of your organization, of your people, of the people around you, understanding the technological ability being given to everyone in every company. A Copilot subscription would replace 90% of the vendors and AI agencies I'm seeing out there right now. People building N8N workflows and all of these things are easily just destroyed by a simple subscription to Copilot Studio. No one knows about this because it's still expanding, it's still being used. But I'm telling you, that wave, that crushing wave is coming. And unless you understand this, you will be crushed by it. Till next time, friends, have a wonderful day.